Hey folks, welcome back. This is Lucid, and we are back with Ulm. So, you can see we did a fair bit of trading. I have a bunch of gems, 60 gems coming in from Ryugo, the Dragon Nation. And, yeah, this is for... we're making them an absolute shit ton of gear. We're making them 5 Moonblades, 5 Amulets of Anti-Magic, and then 3 Smashers. And I made those last turn, probably after I recorded. The reason for this is that if we look over here on this planet, Middle-Aged Atlantis is kind of like this. They have most of this stuff. And then the dragons have about this much stuff. And news of us killing Atlantis has made its way out. And news of us killing Old Atlantis, or Early Age Atlantis, has leaked out, and Middle-Aged Atlantis has shown up and they've started fighting. And they killed the Early Age Atlantis army over here, too. So Early Age Atlantis is kind of fucked now. They have really fucked over their position. And a lot of that, I think, actually had to do with me. If they had more resources, they probably would have beaten Rotterdam. Maybe. Rotterdam might have been able to hold still. They certainly would have taken this cap already. But yeah, it had a ton to do with Rotterdam too. So anyway, the fact that he hasn't made progress here, that he has had to raid over here too, he's been pulled in so many different directions. He even went over to another planet. He came over here and fucked with Middle-Aged Atlantis earlier too. And so that's one of the reasons Atlantis is back over here. That said, we don't want Middle-Aged Atlantis on our planet. There's the saying that, an enemy of your enemy is a friend, right? So the enemy of my enemy, Old Atlantis, that enemy would be Middle-Aged Atlantis, that he should be a friend. Not in this case. We don't want him on our fucking planet. He can get the hell out of here. So I talked to Middle-Aged Atlantis. Well, you can see we destroyed the fort here. We were going to pillage it this turn. I think we're not going to. And I'll tell you why. But basically, I talked to him. I was like, hey, dude, what's going on? Because we had a lot of exchange before this war started. And basically, I said, I'm going to teach you a lesson. And you're going to learn that it's not worth fucking with me. And I think I have. We've Bane Venom charmed his... We've got 3 Bane Venom charms running around his lands. We've killed probably 200 gems of water elemental stuff. We've probably killed 20 mages, thereabouts. Maybe not quite, maybe like 15. Maybe more, maybe closer to 20. And then about 200 or 300 troops. When you sum everything up, the people he sent on land to raid, the first party that came in, the people we've messed with, and then finally the second big army that we killed last episode. So... all in all, what has he gained from it? Nothing. He had like 1 turn of income from having this province from me for a turn, or maybe 2 turns from it. Meanwhile, we've pillaged this shit. We've taken his forts. We've taken his women and children. All in all, it's not been a very good trade for him. So, sadly, the problem with this, though, is we've taught this lesson to Atlantis, and instead of winning ourselves an ally... where he's like, okay, fine, mercy, we can be friendly. Instead of doing that, it seems he's going to roll over and die, which would be fine, right? Because maybe I don't pillage. I was going to pillage this, but if he's going to roll over and die, and he didn't say he was going to roll over and die. He said, I'm going to fight while slowly losing. Okay. If he's going to roll over and die, then I think we're better off going on the offensive and taking stuff. The problem with this is that means we're going to have a big Middle Atlantis on our planet. And it's a better player, and the player has more resources, and we don't want this. And he's going to be a lot harder. He has better tech, too. He's going to be a lot harder for us to fight underwater. And this is... I really would think about eating Rotterdam, who has lost his cap, and I would love to take this cap from Calum. But... he is just going to be invaluable as an ally to help underwater. So, this is one of the things, like, a lot of times when there's a weaker player next to you, there really isn't much reason to not eat them. and he's certainly a weaker player. Like, just in terms of, like, my income is probably three times his. My gym income is probably like 4 or 5 times his. Like, I could totally eat him if I wanted to. Probably even eat him underwater. But I don't want to, because he has immense value as an underwater ally. Immense value. So long as that is, I think so here's my thinking, right? I might destroy the population here because this is a choke point into the islands I care about, so things will be starving. So potentially any army we hit here, we're going to hit them while they've got a huge morale penalty because they're starving. So we may depopulate this, but I think what we're going to do, we're storming this fort this turn, and I think what we're going to do is just start raiding all the coast. Try to take this. I think we're going to let Rotterdam take Old Atlantis. Maybe we take this, or maybe we take this fort. Like, come down here and take this. We tell Al Kara to go ahead and kick him off the land. He's done. So I'm magic phasing in one of my tarts to this province, because this has a ton of PD, and the tart will make very quick work of it. And then these guys will swing in behind. And if these guys show up, the tart plus these guys should be able to kill them. So that's what we're doing. We're going to hit this. We're probably going to push in and take as much of this as we can. We're not... So I talked to Atlantis. I was like, dude, I can organize a peace with the land nations so that you can fully deal with Atlantis. Because as unsavory and unhelpful and genuinely not good of a neighbor, like as bad of a neighbor as you've been, and he's been a pretty bad underwater neighbor, we prefer you over middle-aged Atlantis. But I was like, well, what do you want in the game? And he says, I think I'm going to fight dying slowly. So he's not really looking to live, is the thing. So, yeah, so I think we just have to take his stuff, because if we don't, middle-aged Atlantis is going to take it all. I've got my little army of these guys marching out, and every turn they're going to get one of this guy's actually lucky. He got a nature random. But, yeah, every turn we're going to march one of these dudes out, and they're going to come down here. And eventually we'll have enough of them we can probably fight. I think I have another province I can recruit these, which I could consider, setting up a fort. And it's cheap for me, I think. Or it may be cheap for me, this province. I could build a lab. I may be able to do stone construction. It's kind of weird. In my test games, you couldn't do stone construction in forts without forests. Or in provinces without forests, but this province doesn't have a forest, and we can do it. So I don't understand. I don't know what the criteria is. And if you look at the item, it says you can only be cast in forest or shallow seas. So, and I remember actually having this happen in a test game where I couldn't do it. So I don't know why it's letting me do it here. Anyway, we'll find out. If it's not a restriction, then we'll cast it everywhere, given enough time. But yeah. Okay, so that's that. We're marching to greatness. Coming down here, we're going to take all this stuff. I thought about raiding here with this dude, but we had a little battle here. They killed my Black Priest with the Ring of Water Breathing. Because the Tritons, they tend to they'll run past you. They're really fast. Yeah, he got hit and poisoned. This guy gives 0 fucks. He's very scary once buffed up, but without body ethereal, without protection, it's not nearly as good. So I think we're going to return him to home base. And you know what? I mean, maybe what I could do, I don't know. I was gonna say I could bring another guy and then we could raid over here. We'll deal with these guys, but I'm not sure exactly when or how. I maybe should move another astral random down here. So if I want to, this next turn they can come back and re-raid this. Got this guy sitting on top of this fort. But I think if I get most of this, I think we're going to destroy all the forts we find. Because unless there's a mage I can recruit out of it, like if there were a fort on this, I would keep it and we'd make mages. But like this fort, when we get it, I don't know what kind of PD's inside, but if there's nothing special, we'll probably destroy it. If there's a mage I can get, it would be great, because I kind of need to build a lab here anyway, just to teleport this guy out. In fact, I'm going to have to. So it's a little shitty, and it would suck if I build the lab and then destroy it the next turn, because I don't want it there to be labs all in the water provinces. But we also need to get Alkera to go ahead and kick Atlantis off the land. This is certainly the time to do it. And yeah, I'm worried Atlantis is like so defeated they're going to start staling, and middle-aged Atlantis is going to just have free reign. I need to think too about how we're going to actually fight them underwater. Potentially we can do it with disease demons once we get Well of Misery. And I can just, you know, I've got stealthy Astral Dude, so I don't have to worry about Mind Hunt. But if I can come up with a kit that will kill one of these dudes with the water lens, with the disease demon, like a bottle of water, I'm not really sure what it would be. Maybe like a bottle of water with like a ring of frost resistance and a moon blade. Like maybe something like that would be able to kill one of these guys. So we'll have to see. I'll probably have to end up getting a test game, but I don't know. If we get a fair amount of Atlantis and they're going to be cool with that and just stay over here, I don't know. Then maybe I can get Rotterdam to fight them. Because Rotterdam's not going to have any way to go. Rotterdam's going to either have to fight me, he might be able to fight Alkera, or he's going to have to fight underwater. And I think, honestly, he's going to do best fighting underwater. So, and I'll be happy to help him fight underwater, too, against Atlantis, if I can come up with some things to be, you know, that I can do. Clearly, we're able to do things, but I don't know. It's going to be a lot harder versus middle-aged Atlantis. Anyway, back to the turn. We finished Thaumaturgy. I think that was Thumb 5. So we can now do Soul Slay, which is nice. We could also do Reveal Infiltrator. The only real purpose of this is to get air randoms. What does this do? Huh. Wisdom of the Void. Caster opens their mind to an otherworldly realm filled with magic, gains strange insights that will greatly aid their magical research. However, they'll also be touched by the void. This will damage the mind of most creatures unless they're used to such contact. So research plus 18 incurs 20% insanity unless the caster has void sanity. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. If you had like a Thom bonus site, that could be really cool. But it is a way to kind of boost up your research. I'm probably going to be playing Relay soon. So anyway, it'd be a useful way to boost up research. We're doing like a remake of this game. I'm going to be playing Late Age Relay. Okay. Anyway, we get Dimensional Instability too. This is something we could look at casting. The problem is you can't build a fort here, and we're going to be forting up everywhere. So I'm not really sure about that. Huh. This is a spell we could cast too. Gets rid of illusions and phantasms. I don't know what this has to do with glamour. I'd be interested. Anyway, continuing to look at the turn, we cast Heart Respects a bunch. We don't find anything. I think we're kind of wasting our time, but we cast Record of Creation on this throne, and oh my god, guys, we found 2 Copper Cliffs, an Unfound Door, and an Alchemist Guild. That's right. One of the best. I mean, look, we just got 2, 3, 5, 7 gems per turn from this one thing. And in addition, we get a bonus 100 gold a turn. That said, the Unrest here is going to block a good bit of that income. But, you know, we'll do what we can. Where's this guy? I kind of need to bring... Okay, good. This guy's coming down here. Where are you going? I think actually what I want to do is... Because we've got to get... Our blood hunting, by the way, is picking up like crazy. And I've actually made a rather good deal. We'll have this guy wait here. So our blood hunting, by the way, is going pretty good. We got 10, 15, 20, 30, 60, 80, 130, 160, 180, 220, and then 250. We got 250 blood slaves a turn, or this turn. So that's a major improvement. We were at like 150 not very long ago. I am mass producing sanguine dowsing rods. We're going deep, deep, deep into blood right now. Deep into blood. We're going to hit 500 blood slaves a turn reasonably soon. It's going to hurt my income a bit. I mean, a lot, but we're doing it. Because I think the problem I'm going to have fighting in any of these wars is I'm going to need magic weapons. Fighting, it's too late in the game to not have magic weapons. And we have it on our Ghoul Guardians, but that ain't enough. That ain't enough. And then we're going to go fight Vanheim. I was thinking how we would do it too. And I think once I get like 100 vampires, I can go sit on top of Arco. Maybe bring in some stealthy wolves too. One turn pop the fort. And then go inside. He's going to send his monolith. This is thinking like 10 turns in advance. He's almost certainly going to teleport his monolith inside. And, yeah, the monolith is going to cast Phoenix Pyre and will be impossible to kill. Unless I have special thugs designed to kill that monolith. So that would be like a Smasher and a... it would probably be like... two dudes, like two Bane Lords that have a Smasher and probably a Smasher and the Elf Bane. I was gonna think maybe I should have a way to give them quickness. I can probably have a mage fluff them with quickness, put them in a little box, get them all fluffed up, have some vampires summoning undead, and send them in. And they'll murder his god. That'll be a great way to start the war. He'll be able to call him back pretty quickly, but killing the god once, taking Arco, pushing up this way would be really good. Meanwhile, we'll be able to do raiding. I can take the underwater from him. So, I don't know. War with Vanheim is not going to be a trivial thing. The guy is really... This guy only plays Vanheim, and he knows all the little Vanheim tricks. I'm going to have to worry about Wrathful Skies, Storm, all this shit. Having 300 or 400 vampires, though, he does not have dark vision. So if I have like 300 vampires, I do darkness and stuff turn 1, and I do rush of strength, or not rush of strength, but it would have to be rush of strength. Rush of strength, maybe some other protection spell. These guys should mulch, like absolutely mulch the Van Heers. He'll have Fog Warriors and stuff, and probably even Wrathful Skies. But if my guys fly on turn 1, unless he has a Storm Staff, which he probably could have, I don't know. It'll be a game, you know. Like the outcome is not determined. This will be a hard fight, but I think we have to do it. I think this is the move. He's fighting Abyssia right now. Abyssia is slowly losing. I'm sending Abyssia 20 slaves a turn until I can join. Because I kind of told him I would join, and I haven't been able to yet, because the fact that he has Fog Warriors and I don't have a ton of magic weapons scares the shit out of me, and I don't have a good answer yet. And I probably never will to Wrathful Skies, but we can deal with the Wrathful Skies bullshit. Speaking of Wrathful Skies, we had a battle this turn. We were going to storm this Kalem fort, and Kalem decided to show up. He brought some dudes. What sucks was Rodalan was supposed to magic phase, which would have cut off movement for Kalem, so he couldn't get here. But anyway, Rodalan's magic phase thug failed. And that means these guys got in. And there's these Eagle Kings, and one of them has put up... there's other dudes. This guy has put up Wailing Winds. And then an Eagle King has put up Wrathful Skies. And they jump in here. And I had been doing Body Ethereal because that's going to help with air elementals. That was what I was worried about. But I think he's too poor to do air elementals. He's doing Wrathful Skies. We ended up talking after this, and I was like, dude, I didn't think you would... He's let Gondwana sit on top of this fort for like 20 turns. I was like, I didn't think you would waste an army to protect this fort you haven't recruited from in 20 turns. And he's like, well, I have to stop that army somewhere. I was like, dude, this is as far as I'm going. So anyway, we get completely wrecked by Wrathful Skies. His troops don't kill shit, basically. But we have this guy. And he is Berserk, and he's very angry. And, yeah. He has a thing or two to say about Wrathful Skies. Namely, that he doesn't really give much of a fuck. Why is this guy all fatigued out? I guess it could be from the cold aura? Yeah, I think that's what it is. Alright, Wrathful Skies kills him. And this guy takes his turn, deleting 2 or 3 birds at a turn. And yeah, basically all the birds are gonna die or run. They've got this guy spamming Dust to Dust, but occasionally he'll do Raise Dead. If he only did Dust to Dust, he might have killed him. But I have pretty good regen, and he will fatigue out every once in a while, so I don't think he would have. But the Raise Dead has made it so that we fatigue out a bit because of Berserk. Berserk, Undead have 0 encumbrance, but they will fatigue from Berserk. So, that's a thing. And we're running in, we're healing. Eagle King dead, there goes Wrathful Skies, and all that is left is this one dude. The problem, though, is I'm at 88 fatigue, and he hits me now with... I'm not sure what it is, but it paralyzes me for for 6 turns. And in that 6 turns, I'm going to take exactly 12 fatigue, and that 12 fatigue will put me up at 100 fatigue. And what that means is that's going to de-toggle Berserk, and I'm going to run. Just like that. Berserk, the only way to get rid of Berserk, really, is to fatigue out, which we just barely did. So we should have won that. Should have. I mean, I don't know. We could have won that. Just a very strange RNG. So anyway, Calum, this is it was probably about even in gold trade. He lost 2 cap only mages. That's like $800. He lost all 3 of these guys, and one of them had a skull staff. Only one of my guys had gems. It was, I think, one of these guys who had lifelong protection or something. Anyway, he lost 3 of these guys, so that's like 350. So that's like 800 plus 350 is like 1,150. And then he lost a bunch of these dudes. So they're expensive. The Tempest Warriors are $15 a pop. So anyway, they're all dead. And anyway, I lost similar amount of stuff. You know, these guys cost a little bit less than Tempest Warriors. And I lost fewer of them than he lost. But I probably lost a little bit, maybe, I don't know. This is 600 gold of mages, and then down here, it's another 300, 900. I don't know, we lost about the same amount of stuff. We could go and calculate. It's going to be pretty close. Anyway, so that kind of sucks for both of us. That said, we're going to take this. So we're going to go right back on top of it, and he can come in and fuck with us if he wants. But I'll probably take it next with my god, if I had to guess. We also cast Flames from the Sky, and I'm kind of bouncing around. And oddly, we only killed 14 guys. So there must not have been many people in here, or I think what it was is maybe it was a cave, in which case it's probably not as effective. So that was a whoops. We can see Patala still has a fair amount of stuff down here, and I may have slowed Nazca down a bit. And we're done targeting Nazca. And the reason is because apparently Mictlan is really on the back foot. They've got all sorts of, Marignon's attacking them, Niflheim's attacking them. It's not looking very good for them. So what we're doing is they were asking me, like, hey, can you cast Flames from the Sky? I want to hit some of Marignon's stacks. And he was going to pay in, like, Blood Slaves that people cast Flames from the Sky. I was like, Flames from the Sky? I mean, not Flames from the Sky. Fires from Afar. And I was like, Fires from Afar? I've got Flames from the Sky, motherfucker. So he's going to be paying me 100 slaves, which is pretty good when you think about it, to cast Flames from the Sky. And that's going to basically kill half of a human army. Like a Marinese army, it's going to just delete half of the commanders and half of the units. Some of his sacred stuff, like the demon knights and stuff, will be fine. But the normal human troops, it's going to just murder those. So anyway, this is going to help me because it's going to radically increase my slave income. And I'm going to do it this turn, next turn. However long he wants me to do it, I'll keep doing it. But it's also going to give Micklin a chance of not only surviving this war, but potentially winning it. And I really don't have any issues helping Micklin win, because Micklin doesn't have a scary bless. He doesn't even have magic weapons. So a Micklin with like a regen blood bond bless, no magic weapons, don't care. I want them to win this planet if I can. Much more than I want to have fallen angels running around. So this is like a super win-win, because I don't really have a great target for him right now. I could keep hitting up Nazca so that I can go invade their planet, which I probably need to think about doing. But I think in reality, we're going after Vanheim first. So we'll see. This turn also, we have some pretty interesting things happening. We're claiming the throne. So last turn, we summoned a vampire lord, this dude. And we paid sticker price for him. We paid full retail. And that's because we had not claimed this yet. This turn will also pay full retail because we haven't claimed it yet. But next turn, we're done paying retail. And yeah, we're basically going to be getting a huge discount on all blood slaves, on all blood summons. And I think the plan is to do Curse of Vampirism here. And that's going to give us that thing where you get the little vampire mage, and then some ghouls, and then some other dudes. And we're just going to start filling this up with vampires. It's going to be gorgeous. And yeah. Once we're done with that, these guys, we're going to go probably attack Arco. But we'll have to end our nap and do the countdown and all of that jazz, which is going to kind of suck, but that's what's fair. So the other thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cast Malediction. I'm going to actually pull it up. I'm going to pause it. Okay, so I have made this strange little Word document where I just went into the mod and I wrote down in English and organized it so that I would know what the spell Malediction actually did. And I had read through it before, but I was like, it's kind of worth it, but I just wanted to write it all down so that I could think through it and say, is this really worth casting? So we'll talk about the benefits. You get a 2% chance per candle to get a ghoul commander. These are pretty nice. You can thug these out. This is only in your capital, right? You have a similar thing, a 1% chance per candle in all of your forts to get a ghoul commander. So what I want to start doing is we'll start thinking about this like I have 10 candles. If I have 10 candles, I have a 20% chance to get a ghoul commander in my cap. If I have 10 candles, I have a 10% chance to get a ghoul guardian commander. These are actually better, just in the sense that they basically have about the same stats as a ghoul commander, but they have much lower upkeep. And we can totally thug these guys out. So that's kind of cool. We have a 100% chance in our capital to get 1d6 ghoul guardians. This will almost double my ghoul guardian production. And my ghoul guardian production's actually going to start sucking because I'm going to start forting up my cap circle, which really sucks for bringing in income into my resource income into my cap. But I think I need to do it. I don't know. We might do it a little bit later, but it's going to happen. And we get one vampire unit. So this is one free vampire a turn. This is probably worth about 8 to 12, at 8 to 10, okay, we'll say 5 to 10 blood slaves, depending on how you value it. So that's pretty nice. Next up, we have a 15% chance to get a vampire count. So almost for just this, it's almost worth it just for this. Because this is 3.5 ghoul guardians and 1 vampire turn. This is almost worth it. I was thinking this was a garbage global. I don't actually think it is anymore. when I've really looked at all the benefits, and yet, like, everything in and of itself is not like breathtaking, but when you sum them all up, they're pretty damn good. So a 15% chance for a D2 B2 vampire count. This means over the course of a year, you're going to be getting probably about 2 of them. A fort. Okay, what do we get in our forts? In our forts, we have a 15% chance per candle in a fort to get ghouls. These not ghoul guardians, these are straight up ghouls. And we're going to lose 10 population every time this happens. What this will really amount to is every turn, like in a province where we have 10 candles, we're going to get like 3 ghouls and we're going to lose 10 population. That's actually okay. I'm totally cool with that. 10 population is not that much. It should not slow down our growth. Not significantly. Not significantly. Anyway, we also, I mean, the only place this would be maybe like more significant is places where I don't have like enough population, where the growth from my growth scales isn't significant. But in those places we have Ritual of Rebirth, so they'll probably be fine anyway. And the ghouls are pretty nice, because the ghouls are going to hold up fort walls. This will add up reasonably quickly. Okay, we've talked about the Ghoul Guardian Commander. The next thing I get is I have a 5% chance per candle in a fort to get 1 vampire, and this will also kill 10 population. So when I have 10 candles, it's going to be a 50% chance per candle per fort. So if I have 20 forts, then that'll be like 10 vampires a month. That's actually a big deal. That's actually a pretty big deal. So that I like. Then outside of forts, so in a non-fort province, specifically, you know, it's not like any province is a non-fort province. You have a 5% chance per candle, so 50% in 10 candles, to get some ghouls. And this doesn't cause population loss, so that's kind of nice. And then we have a 5% chance, this is anywhere, to turn a humanoid unit who's cursed into a vampire. Now, they have to be humanoid and they have to be size 1-2. And it will empower them in blood also. And it can only happen once per province, that per turn. So, I probably should put that here. So, anyway, that's how this works. And this, by the way, is a Dominions Enhanced spell, so if you don't ever play Dominions Enhanced, like I have not ever played Dominions Enhanced, then this won't really be helpful for you in an Ulm game. But this is a hard 5%, which means it's not affected by candles. So in 10 candles, it's still 5%. And what this will, like, one way to think about this is when you have 20 forts up, or I guess like you do in every province. So yeah, I guess I'm 60 provinces. So potentially I could have 3 people per turn turning into vampires, which is kind of cool. There's an item that will make your units cursed. So the way I'm thinking about this is because it can only do 1 and it will only do it to the one that's cursed, you could actually kind of control who you want to become a vampire. And that is by taking a Banefire crossbow, which will curse units, and you put that on a bunch of commanders. You can actually take it off, I believe, the same turn, and just shuffle it around and make sure you have one guy who's cursed in every province that you want to become a vampire. I have to think through more who would be a good person to, like, give that to. You know, like, is it the astral dudes who could potentially do magic duel, and then if they die, it doesn't matter because they're a vampire? Maybe. Like, certainly the guys who are like the special paths would be cool. You know, like the members of the second tier who get cool extra paths. Those would maybe be good contenders. But then also, like, maybe the fire random smiths would be good because they can do Phoenix Pyre and jump in. And that can also maybe help them get rid of some of their fire resistance. And then they're also going to have an earth path for Iron Skin. They could be really good thugs. You know, the earth ones, maybe not like the earth randoms. I don't think, but maybe. Anyway, this itself is pretty cool. This is more flavor. And like, I'm really big, so I'm at least 70 provinces right now. If I weren't as big, this would be less good. But like getting 2 vampire accounts a turn, you're going to get rid of the upkeep. You know, that's a good thing. And then we have a counterbalancing bad thing. There's a 5% chance a friendly commander gets Flesh Eater. And this kind of sucks because each of these commanders is, I think, going to eat 10 population a turn. I think when I find one of these guys, I'll probably have to like really breathe through my mouth and try really hard and find these guys every like 4 or 5 turns. I'm going to have to do like a sifting through and just clicking on everybody. And then send them off to fight and die. Because you really don't want Flesh Eaters sitting around in your forts. And there's also a 5% chance to get cursed. And the idea is you, like, for it to work, you kind of have to have 2 wickets. You have to first wait for your 5% chance to get cursed, and then you have to wait for a chance to turn into a vampire. But you can get rid of this wicket by using the Banefire Crossbow and get your units cursed, and then you can just skip to this. So that's a way to kind of get the most out of this. And we can control who we want to have it done by having only 1 commander cursed in a province and making sure that that commander is the kind we want to get turned into a vampire. But even still, it's not going to be like a ton. We're going to get some dudes. And then in enemy lands, there's a 5% chance that they have a dude get a Flesh Eater if they've got my Dominion there. And there's a 5% chance to get attacked by Vampire Indies. And I think this is hard capped. I can't remember. It may be per candle, but I think it's hard capped. So this is the thing about Malediction. Is it worth it? I think we'll go look at it in the game. It's down here. It's 210 slaves. I think it's totally worth it, right? We can get maybe like 10 vampires a turn from it. It'll probably be less, probably like 6 a turn as we start, and it'll ramp up. It'll hold a global spot. Yeah, I mean, that seems pretty good to me. We're going to get probably 2 vampires a year, like vampire counts. That's going to be worth it. The pop kill is not that bad if we weed out the Flesh Eaters. And we'll get like maybe 2 to 3 guys turning into probably like 2 to 3 guys turning into vampires a turn. And they'll be like different, cool, multi-purpose vampire dudes. I think it's super worth it. And I did not think it was worth it at the beginning. So now that I've really studied it, I think it's worth it. So point being, we want to cast it next turn. And because we'll want to claim the throne first, because we're going to get a nice healthy discount. It's only going to be, let me do the math real quick. It's 210 times 70%. So it's 150. It's only going to be 150 to cast. And then I might put 100 extra into it, or maybe like 200 into it so it stays up. And then I kind of want to go, I really want to get Blood Vortex too, but we don't have the paths to cast. This you have to be Blood 7. This only have to be Blood 5. So we're going to actually have Gada. He's going to be the caster because we already empowered him once in Blood. And yeah, if we empower him in Blood again, he'll be Blood 4, and then we can just put a Bloodthorn on him, and he will be able to cast it. And that will be Wunderval. So, that is the plan for this. We're getting Gada where he can do Malediction. We're getting more Vampire Lords, and then we're going to cast it next turn. Probably with a nice, healthy overcast, so we'll likely win over some of the basic stuff. But we're not going to, like, pour a ton of shit into it. I mean, the alternative is I could also just do the minimum cast, and then once it gets taken down, we can do a super powerful cast. So that's the thing. The global slots are going to start filling up. Utgard, by the way, put Well of Misery up this turn, so everybody got a nice little income bump. But Utgard also has a lot of globals now. It's a little bit concerning. Okay, so that's what's happening over here. I don't think there's too much else that we need to talk about. I don't think so. Oh, what heroic ability did this guy get? I think he got agility or something stupid. Lightning reflexes. Yeah. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about research. Research, we need to have stuff that's going to be good in the war against Vanheim, and we also need this to get Vessel of Misery. I did a lot of bitching and moaning last episode about stuff in D that wasn't balanced, and the Yis player and I were talking Nick Knight, and apparently they've talked to Red Rob, who's the mod author, and we basically all agreed this is completely broken still. So the fact that you get a bunch of disease demon commanders is not really very cool, in addition to chaff. So I think he's getting rid of the first, and in a game like this, like, look, we already had it go off like what, 4 times this turn. Units have been healed, units have been healed, units have been healed. I did it like 3 times. There's 3 of these events. This first one was something else, but these 3 are all that. So like everybody's gonna have all their afflictions healed. So he's making it where it will only cap, at least this is what I've heard. It can only happen once, and then the healing event. But anyway, we're going enchantment 7 for that. It's also going to give us Serpent's Blessing, so we can do Foul Vapors ourselves. I don't know if there's anything else in particular that seems super duper good. We get Mass Flight, which is probably a good thing to have in our pocket. But the Hammer of the Arcane, not terribly good. I don't know how this works on illusions. I mean, on glamour stuff. Solar Brilliance can be good if we're fighting people that are putting up darkness. A Stellar Focus. Yeah. I don't know, guys. I don't think there's too much here. Life After Death is really good, or pretty good. And, Tree Lord, Gift of Health. Anyway, so we're going to hit that mostly for Vessel of Misery, but also for Serpent's Blessing. And then we're going to go to Alt 7. This is going to give us Fog Warriors and Mass Protection, which will be pretty good against Vanheim. And then we are going to go for maybe Evocation 6. This would be Mind Hunt. This would be really useful fighting elves. I may skip that. I feel like I need to make an economy play pretty soon, which could be going up to Blood 8 to get Blood Vortex. It could also be heading for a global. And I'm not sure, like another global. Like maybe I could fight for... I guess technically we could fight for Earthblood Deepwell. Yeah. The other thing is, because I just doing trading, I let people pay me whatever kind of gems they want to. And then I'll trade with other people to get the right kind of gems I need. But anyway, we got Old Oceania. Okay, this was, I sent them a research booster, which they paid a little bit excess for. So I actually got a lot of nature. One of the things I'm thinking about, and this is one of the reasons I wanted to record this, to just share this with y'all, is most of the Cancer game-winning globals have been removed. So like Utter Dark, Burden of Time, Astral Corruption, those things are gone from the game. The game-winning good globals, like they help you win, have been heavily nerfed. Like the cost has been increased. So like Gift of Nature's Bounty is 320. That being said, this is like a win condition. And I could probably, because I've got these guys here, like Ted Jones, who by the way, we're Magic Phase moving him in the water, so he'll come back as a white next turn. He did get horror marked, which kind of sucks. But because I've got this dude, and he's Nature 5, we can give him a Tree Lord Staff, which will get him up to 7. We can do the Twisting Thorns Armor, which will get him up to 8. We can do the Moonvine Bracelet and then Gem of Creation, which will get him up to 10. So we can get him up to 10, pretty easily. Which means we could potentially do like 1,000 gems in this. And maybe... I don't know. Maybe there's some way to even go a bit higher. Somehow. So anyway. That would be kind of game-winning if we could get that. And I think we're going to start saving for it. Because we're kind of a scales nation. We're going to have forts and temples everywhere. We should be able to dom push pretty hard on our planet. Vanheim especially, that's another reason to kill them, is they could blood sacrifice and push our dominion out of our lands, which we're not excited about. So I think we kill Vanheim, we get their stuff, we make a play for Nature's Bounty at some point. I think we can kill Vanheim with just Alt 7. Because I think Vampires and Darkness will do pretty good. But we'll see. We'll see. Oh my god, I've got a lot of dudes here. I need to bring these guys out to a war front. So anyway, that's mostly what's happening over here. Is we're preparing for a war with Vanheim. We're getting our blood economy is absolutely rocking and rolling, and like we dramatically, like we should easily have 300 blood slaves next turn. Per turn, and we're getting 100 shipment in from Micklin, and that will presumably continue for a while. There's also a decent chance we get a nature death basket from the person who's been holding up Mother Oak, which is Oceania. Relay is eating Oceania's stuff, which is good. And Bandar Log, we end up having to get a sub for, and they're kind of big. I think Bandar Log's like right here. But Yis has started eating them, and anyway, hopefully we get a decent sub. So that's that. And Rotterdam took back some of this stuff from me, which is fine. He coordinated with me. We're building a lab here so I can do... We're going to try to get these two high-income provinces forted up next. I'm building... I think this turn we're doing stone construction here so that I can get more of these enchanters. And I think we did a magical mine here, which is kind of cool. I want to go ahead and do this... So this one is one of the ones that pays itself back pretty quickly. It's 50 gems, which is really expensive, but you get 4 per turn. So it pays itself back in like 10 or 12 turns. And then as a bonus, you get resources and gold. And I think it causes misfortune or something. You get attacked by dwarves, whatever. We'll manage. I probably need to fort it up just because we get attacked by dwarves. Where did all my earth gems go, for God's sakes? How did I spend them all? I know we're making an artifact this turn. The artifact that we're making is right here. We're doing... And you can see this took just a ton of really expensive gear. We're making the Crown of Overmight. And one of the things is I want this to go on my god. I don't want to have my god holding up globals because I want to use my god. So he's going to do this. I may also need to empower him in Earth. Empowering him in Earth is going to be a big deal. Not because he can cast... Iron Skin, but because when he gets the path boosts from Hell Power and then Power the Spheres, that Earth will give him like a bonus 4 protection. And we can do Temper Flesh if we need to too, which would actually be very good against Vanheim because Vanheim does slashing damage. So anyway, we'll probably need to empower him in Earth, but I think first we're going to do a magic mine here. I've got... Coming in here, we're moving an Earth Mage. This is my only other cave, which is a requirement for this magical mine. So we'll go ahead and put a magic mine here. Next turn, if I have enough, which I probably won't. Maybe. I've got some gems I just put on commanders, so we'll strip those gems off. We'll get that up, but my Earth income, like before, was kind of bad. Like if you subtract 4 out of this, I was at 17 Earth, and then... I think it was even lower because I got like a bonus 2 income from just like site searching that throne. So anyway, yeah, this will get us up to 25, which is pretty healthy. That said, it's expensive, but I think it's going to be worth it. We've got our fort built here. Oh, I had mentioned at the end of last episode we had tried to do Record of Creation twice, just because it seemed like a bug. I wanted to see how it worked, and it did not work. So we ended up just wasting a mage turn instead. which is kind of what I thought would happen. But anyway, because I wasn't able to recreate it, we just decided to see how it would happen in game. And yeah, we're casting Record of Creation here, though, because this site has not been site searched well. And this has a lot of modifiers on it, which means it's pretty likely to have good magic sites. So we're going to go ahead and cast that here. And I'm not sure what we're going to do next. But anyway, that's what's happening over there. So yeah, hopefully we have a good series of turns coming up. We need to be aggressive and eat Vanheim very shortly. And we need to be preparing after we're eating Vanheim to go eat Nazca. I think what I need to try to do... The problem, I need to think about Diplo on this planet, because Yiss is going to be eating everybody and people need to team up versus Yiss. So if Nazca teams up versus Yiss, I won't backstab Nazca. But right now, Nazca's not doing anything like that. If somebody else... I don't really know how it's going to work, but I need to get in here reasonably quickly and prevent this from being a Yiss planet. If Yiss gets this planet, it's basically over. So we'll have to see. And me being able to execute a fast war against Vanheim will be pretty critical to this whole thing working. The other thing that works reasonably well against Vanheim, and I'm going to go pull up their Bless, because we need this war to be really effective. The other thing that works pretty well against Vanheim is... Remembered on turn 48 they had some indies that attacked them. So is fatigue plays, and they don't have cold resistance. So it's possible we can do like a rigor mortis, so a darkness rigor mortis, breath of winter, or grip of winter strat against them. And that might work. But dealing with the monolith is going to be a major problem. And he's going to be able to resummon that thing. So I'm going to have to kill it a lot. I probably need to curse it too. So like in the fights where I think the monolith is coming, I need to make sure I get curse on it. And maybe I can even feeble mind it, which would be epic. I'll have to think through how I do that. I mean, the Bow of Beowulf's the obvious way, but that's not going to do damage against the monolith. So I'm not really sure how I'd do that one. But anyway. Yeah, I think we can do a fatigue play against these guys. Unfortunately, he doesn't have shock resistance, so I don't think he's going to want to Wrathful Skies us. But we'll find out. I mean, there's ways to deal with Wrathful Skies, like just summoning a couple air elementals myself, or like having a bag of wind. So that'll go back there and mess with like a single caster. I don't know. We'll figure it out, guys. But ultimately, if I've got a vampire army, which does not exist right now, then we'll be able to, like, he can do Wrathful Skies, and if he kills a bunch of vampires, they just respawn. So I think that's the play I have to make. The next artifact I want, after the one we're making, is this one. This will make my god truly online, is when I get this one, the Amulet of Power. The Halt Heretic is going to be... Actually, it's not really going to help. I was going to say it's going to help a lot versus the Van Heers. It probably won't, because they'll be Berserk, and I think the all checks won't work then. But the MR will be nice. The penetration bonus is going to be really good. It's going to make Soul Vortex a lot more effective, I think. Yeah, I think it'll be really solid. And then my god can also do Rigor Mortis, like, trivially. So he can do, like, Summon Hell Power. We can actually probably script him with it right now, because it would be kind of funny. He's claiming this throne this turn. I do need to make a profit, so my god doesn't have to do all this shit. But I think what we would do with him... Also, those guys don't have cold resistance, so Ghost Form, which gives them Cold Hour, would be nice. Is I think we just do... It's going to be like this. It's going to be Hell Power. Then it's going to be Power the Spheres. I probably need to empower him in blood once or twice more so he doesn't pass out. So Hell Power, Power of the Spheres. And then it will... We may have him empowered on Earth. I'm not sure. But like Astral Shield is pretty good, especially with this thing on him. And then Soul Vortex. Ghost Form would be good too. But then we can also do... I think we do Rigor Mortis as the final thing. And I think Vanheim will have a very hard time dealing with this, especially with the Friendship hat on, so I'll be charming any thugs that come in. Yeah, I think that would be pretty good. And the Friendship hat gives us... It's better than this. It's going to give us Protective Force 30. So it's very, very strong. I do think the Hell Power is going to give you 4 protection. So if we do the math, the 4 protection will get me up to a natural protection of 17. But if I have empowered myself in Earth once, then once I do Hell Power in this, it's going to get me up to Earth 4. And with Earth 4, I'll get a bonus 4 protection. So that'll take me from 17 all the way up to 21, which is now a respectable amount of protection. Yeah. I feel like this would be able to murder an unlimited number of Van Heers, especially considering he can Magic Phase, he can't be Mind Hunted. He'd be very, very, very hard to deal with. Very hard to deal with. But yeah, I think that's kind of my plan right now. That is kind of my plan. I'm going to need to save up some Earth Gems to empower him. It's only going to be a few turns, but we're going to go ahead. Our first Earth Gems are going to go into this, and honestly, there's a decent chance. I mean, the other thing is I could Magic Phase in somebody with him to, or move in somebody with him, like especially once I start getting some Earth Vampires from Malediction. They can roll in with him and summon, or do, whatchamacallit, Iron Warriors on him, which would be pretty good. The only thing is in this current iteration, well, what gear would I put on him? I think we just put a Storm Spool Amulet on. So I think it would be the Storm Spool Amulet, and then the Amulet of Power, and then the Crown of whatever, Crown of Overmight. And that would be a very good kit. So guys, I hope you have enjoyed it. We continue to fearlessly march on. We're a little plateauy right now, which is not good in terms of provinces. We need to kick this back up. But we want to... It's going to be a lot better to have a clean, big... Like, a war against Vanheim that we execute well will be very good. A war against Vanheim where we grind into them is not going to be good. So we're going to probably make a little bit of money raiding Atlantis in the meanwhile, but I think that's going to be our next war. So take care. We will see you all next time.